Sorry. What a beanbag and I keep falling off. Anyway, hi, welcome to my channel, welcome to my new video. This is my new video. At first I wasn't sure what I would do a video about, and I didn't want to make it as long as last time, so this one is just a kind of quick, not first impressions, not really. It's just kind of like a thoughts and feelings video about my latest makeup acquisition, which is the Melt Cosmetics Gemini eyeshadow palette. Eyebrow raiser every time I say it. And I have feelings about it, and I'm just I feel a bit unsettled, and I guess I'll talk about why, if you care to hear why. But that's what my video is today, because clearly I've already got my face on, and I did a look with this palette, and my sort of lo-fi, crappy lighting and camera situation is kind of advantageous because you can't see how terribly I've applied it. But anyway, I've gone for this kind of smudgy, smoky, halo eye sort of look because I can't do a cut crease to save my life. So that's what we've got. But anyway, first about Melt. Melt are an indie brand, and I've actually never used any of their products before. I had heard a lot or watched a lot of people rave about their eyeshadows and their stacks in particular, which are like the single eyeshadows that are kind of magnetized and they stack up instead of being in a palette form, and they look really cool. And there's one called the Rust Stack, and that's something that I've always really wanted because I love those colors. So when this palette was being sneak peeked, I got really into it because I thought, well, these are colors that I really want to use, and I don't really have anything like that. So yeah, but the way that it sort of came about is how I feel a bit iffy, and I think this is a car alarm, sorry. Anyway, yeah, I just feel kind of a bit like unsettled about the whole situation. First of all, they did that thing that a lot of makeup companies do where they really hype something up on social media, and so they were releasing sort of single shades from the palette as a post, and then they would share these gorgeous looks by makeup artists, so that you really get oh, I really need this in my life because those colors look amazing and it looks amazing on that person, etc. And then they did a pre-sale, and the pre-sale was that you could sign up for their newsletter, and they would send you a code, like a password, secret password, and then you'd be able to log in, and you hopefully be able to nab one of these in the pre-sale, which is a very limited run, and that sold out like ridiculously, stupidly quick. So then they had the actual sale, which was, I think it was on the 2nd of June. Yeah, so it was a few weeks ago now, a week ago. June. Anyway, can you believe it's like halfway through the year? Holy shit. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So they had this release, and it was at, I don't know, Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. LA, which in Australia is like 5 a.m. So I was an absolute sucker, and I set my alarm for like 5 minutes to 5 in the morning, and I managed to get on and I managed to grab one, and then I promptly went back to sleep. And then when I woke up and I went on Instagram, there was this furor that people hadn't been able to get it, and it made me feel kind of happy and also kind of bad, because a lot of people who were real supporters of Melt and have been for a long time, have been sort of coveting this palette, missed out. And I don't think that this one's going to be coming back because Melt said available for the last time. But again, in makeup land, that means really nothing because brands often say that something's limited and then bring it back, so who knows. But I think it was a bit sneaky. I feel that one of the reasons why I can sort of figure that they did it was this is their first eyeshadow palette as such. They never released a palette. So I reckon they were kind of testing the waters and were saying that it was going to be limited edition, and then maybe weren't expecting the craze for it, and maybe that might make them bring it out again. I don't know. So that's kind of how I feel with indie brands. They don't have the sort of resources to be making huge runs of stuff, especially if they're just trying a product for the first time. So that's kind of what I think happened. But at the same time, I didn't like the kind of FOMO that this whole situation created. So the whole like fear of missing out. A lot of people were just the comments that I was reading on their page was just really ridiculous. Like, it's just eyeshadow dude. And I know that like I say that holding it, and I got one, yeah, but I paid a lot of money for it, like, to be fair. And that's another issue that I had with this whole situation, is that normally, with new brand releases, a company might send out PR to, influencers. And so the influencers can kind of give it a test run, and they can do a little bit of a spiel on their whatever platform, and talk about the product. And so you get a bit of a sense of what you're in for, before you buy it, or so that, it either makes you really want to buy it because somebody likes it or whatever. And that's the kind of issue that I had with this, going in blindly, because I'd never used a Melt product, so I really didn't know what to expect. I just heard rave reviews about their eyeshadow quality, and I couldn't really find any YouTubers or anybody who was really talking about this in like the kind of depth that I would like to hear before I spend $70 on an eyeshadow palette. But I was a sucker, and I went for it, and I got it, and this is how I feel about it. I feel kind of about it. I mean, the quality for me isn't exactly what I was expecting, and I'll open it to show you. It's a 10 shadow palette, and this is kind of why I didn't really want to do like a full-on review of it anyway, even though I haven't been using it for that long. I didn't want to save it because I'm like, well, you can't buy it anymore, so what's the bloody point of that? But anyway, let me just open it. It's magnetized. It has a nice mirror, but it's a weird shape because it's so kind of oblong and weird. But 10 shadow palette, and it has 8 matte shades and 2 shimmer shades. And I feel that they, and you can see the sort of color story. It's kind of like two, like you've got on the one hand, you've got this really sort of browny, bronzy copperyness, and then separated by black, and then you have the green. And the green was what I was there for initially. And I actually really like the inclusion of the black. I think it's really helpful because I didn't have a plain black matte shadow, and this one is actually quite good. But my problem with the shades, sorry, not the shades themselves, because I think the shades are really beautiful, but the performance, the shadows just feel really dry. I don't know if that's normal for Melt, because again, I haven't used their products before, but they just felt quite dry. And I'll put some pictures up of my swatches, which you'll have to excuse because my arms aren't bare, so I had to build them up so that you could see. But you can kind of tell that they're really quite powdery. And then the 2 shimmer shades in particular, they perform, for me at least with this palette, I found they perform quite differently. My favorite shade being Goals, which is that really, really beautiful green shimmer color. I really love that shade, and that is really quite easy to use. I can use it with a finger, which you can kind of just pat on, or you can get a little bit more technical with it, I guess. You can get a brush and pop a little Fix Plus or whatever to really kind of foil it, but I feel like you don't actually really need to. But the other shade, the other shimmer shade, which is Gemini, the namesake of the palette, I feel it doesn't perform as the same way. It's actually really patchy, it's really flaky, and so I was kind of disappointed with that shade in particular, but no love lost really, because I've got kind of a billion of those bronzy shades. But kind of my thoughts overall about this palette is that I really enjoy what they're doing in terms of the color story. It was something unique at this time. I haven't seen any other brands do this kind of thing, and so that's what got me really hyped for it. But I mean, like, $70, is it worth $70? No, not to me. Like, am I gonna keep asking myself questions? Yes, I will. And would I buy it again? No, I don't think so. I feel like the quality just doesn't match. Like, what's another palette that's like $70? I don't know, maybe Urban Decay in Australia, Anastasia Beverly Hills. Actually, yeah, for size comparison, here is my Modern Renaissance so that you can see it's a really weird shape, this one. It's kind of like really long. But yeah, it just didn't have the same kind of quality that I was expecting for that sort of price. But I'm not unhappy with it, if that makes sense. I'm not like, I mean, I'm happy that I got the palette. I really like the colors and I can make them work. And I'm not a makeup artist, so to me, it doesn't really matter as long as I can get colored powder onto my eyes that look that color that they are in here, then it does that, right? But I mean, it's not like a magical experience every time I open it and put it on, as some other palettes have been for me before, where just even just putting it on feels luxurious, and that's, you know, kind of what I expected. But that's okay, you know, it's fine. So that's kind of how I feel about it, but I guess I feel like my feelings about it are kind of redundant too, because you can't get it anymore, I don't think. That being said, Melt is currently doing that whole situation again where they show sneak peek a shade and sneak peek looks of that shade, and then I'm assuming it's going to be a new palette, who knows. But yeah, like, I, I guess what I mean is, like, don't fall for the hype of it, because you don't need it. Really, you don't. Even if, like, I kind of tried to, like, oh, but I don't have any other colors like that in my collection. Yeah, and who cares? Like, you know, I mean, I enjoy it now because I like that I can do these looks, and I really like this look. I really like these colors. It's kind of a new thing, this kind of smoky, grungy, mustardy brown. And the main reason why I wanted it really was for these mustard shades, that green, but then also the shades on this side, Mochi in particular, and Leo, which I really like this green as well. It's really nice. Also Lorelei is or Lorelei is a really beautiful shade too. So yeah, so that's why I got it. And like, yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's all of the colors that I want in a palette, but I got it. And I don't know. And maybe that's like a bigger thing about makeup in general, is that there's this whole hype around particular products, and people feeling that they just have to get something, if a brand's releasing a new collection, and then you get it and it's kind of a bit like, okay, that's great. And recently I've been really into Lucia Teppa Beauty's channel. Lucia is pretty cool. She talks a lot about, you know, she's kind of in that sort of anti-consumerist vein of videos and YouTubers. Things like talking about how marketing companies really work people up so that they, you know, feel that they need something. And she has videos about like how you can kind of resist that, in that sort of strain of Kimberly Clark's, you know, famously her anti-hauls, which are amazing. But at the same time, you know, it's kind of like, well, you know, it's fine to buy makeup if you want it, just like, you know, does it spark joy? Is a very like Marie Kondo sort of take on it. Like, you know, will it make you happy? And that's the problem with, you know, products where you can't actually try them, you can't see them, you buy them because you're scared of missing out, you get them, you paid a lot of money for them, and then you're a little bit underwhelmed. That's kind of my experience with this. But that being said, like, you know, I mean, I'm not like devastated, I'm just not like, you know, I don't know, whatever, who cares? It's just makeup, literally, it's just makeup, so who cares? Anyway, they're my opinions, my thoughts and feelings about the Melt palette. If you were able to grab one, let me know, tell me what you think, because maybe you really love it, and I don't know, and maybe, again, like, this is the thing, I haven't been using it for that long, because I only ordered it on the 2nd, I only got it really recently, so, I haven't been using it, and maybe the more I use it, the more I'll like it, but it, you know, it's just that, at first, I just felt that the quality wasn't what I was expecting, so anyway, but yeah, let me know what you think, your thoughts down below, and feel free to subscribe if you like me. No, I don't know, if you like this stuff, and hopefully I'll get another video out soon. Life's pretty busy at the moment. I'm heading up to Brisbane to visit my family next week, so I don't know when I'll be able to post again, but I'll figure it out. Anyway, bye, and thank you, and see you later. And I don't know, I need to come up with like some kind of outro thing, I don't know, but for now, have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!